Hi, guys. This is Ali Baqir Khan with another podcast of Youth Alumni Association. Today, we've got Minh Yang with us. It's Minh Yuen. Minh, you can pronounce your name in a better way. And it was hard, but I literally practiced it. And I heard, I mean, I got to your LinkedIn, but Minh is fine for you, right? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So just to
Yeah.
introduce Minh, Minh is a regional manager of Aiesec in Asia Pacific region, and she has done her bachelor's in business administration, as far as I know. So Minh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm very excited for this podcast.
Okay, that's really good to know. I'm really excited as well. Thank you so much for taking out time for this. So we want to know a little bit about your career journey, back in your childhood days. How were you as a child? What did you think you want to become? Can you just like elaborate it a little bit so that we get to know a little bit more regarding your childhood career journey as well?
When I was young, I really hate my dreams to become a TED Talk speaker. I
Okay.
love to inspire people, and also I'm very passionate with educations, especially for kids and also for the poorer,
Mhm.
the one who cannot really access to educations, and I would love to be that. Um, I have a lot of dreams, to be honest. Especially when it's come to interacting with people.
Okay.
Sometimes I want to be a teacher. Sometimes I want to be a doctor. Sometimes I want to be a TED Talk speaker. Sometimes I want to be a singer. Anything,
So
just
you're
like
into music as well.
contribute.
That's really good. That's
Yeah,
good
I
to know.
love that. But right now
Mhm.
it's just like a hobby for me.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. And when I grown up, gradually realized that it's just my dream of being helpful for the world and making the impact for the world. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Regardless any kind of career, any kind of like job that I'm doing, if I feel like I can contribute to some area in this world, that is good.
Okay, that's great. So as a child, you always had that passion of, coming up with assisting people or, helping people out. And you wanted to, at times you thought that, okay, I'm listening to Hannah Montana or Miley Cyrus, and you were like, okay, I want to become a singer. Or you heard a song, and at that time, if you've watched a good movie, you wanted to become an actress, right? This is how we guys get to learn when we guys are in that phase of our lives, because we don't know much about the world. We're just, little kids learning and exploring. But since Youth Alumni Association is actually working for lack of career counseling and also on how to develop entrepreneurs globally, because inflation is going, everywhere. So we need to come up with new innovative ideas in order to, save the world, and also make sure we are working on aspects like climate change, and just to make sure that, there's peace and harmony. And that's one of the reasons I asked you to, be in our podcast. So thank you so much for being here. So explaining about your career journey, okay, we do understand that, you went through all of that. So what about your parents and the society where you grew up? What did they want you to become at that point of time? Did they have any feeling like, okay, my daughter is going to become a doctor, or my daughter is going to go for, sportsmanship or something like that?
Um, Especially in Vietnam, this community is more about the parents really love their daughter or their son to become someone in the future that becoming successful.
Okay.
And that's having some pressure for my parents in the community as well. So actually in the past, my parents just hope that I become someone that can bring the good salaries, can become a successful, can having some kind of like power in the future.
Okay.
Especially when it's come to the future. They want to be something stable, and they just hope that I can have a stable job with a stable salary. Um, Especially living not very far from them.
I understand.
Yeah, but after that, I realized that I love to go around and I love to travel to many different places and
Okay.
contribute my youth to something like bigger than that. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So as far as I see, like you've done your bachelor's in business administration, right? Uh, what university was it, in Vietnam or was it somewhere else?
It's in Vietnam.
It's in
So
Vietnam.
my university's name is like a foreign trade university.
Okay, okay, that's great. So what happened exactly about your business administration career? Like, for example, you went there. you were getting, because I'm a business graduate myself, I know about marketing, human resource management, accounting, and all that, right? Then you have to choose a certain major to just end up with. So how did you just come towards this regional manager of Aiesec? Because that's something, I would want to personally know as well. And the youth listening to us, they would love to hear your whole career journey. I still remember when I was applying for Aiesec, there was a form that we had to fill just to apply, make sure that we've got references and all that. But I did not join Aiesec like full time because I had other opportunities to go ahead. But can you throw some light upon that as well regarding like your university life, and what were you good at? I mean, how did you explore yourself? Do you think career counseling is a major issue in Vietnam as well, or do you think it's something that's okay there, like people do get to know what they want to achieve in their lives?
Talking about this in the past is very, very different. We just like cramming for the exams and we want to have a good score, and we want to impress our parents and also the parents of their friends about what they're doing in the high school, secondary school. But they didn't really care about what they're gonna do in the future. But actually, gradually, people like also the educational systems is like adapting, changing to the way that people talking about how the career in the future is, and also having some career orientations starting from high school.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say it's still just have some like how
Yeah.
about city, like it's just like in the cities that people care about what is the major in the future that they should choose, and also how this is gonna bring them to the
How's it going to
university with that.
affect your lives in future? You should be aware of that. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. Yeah.
But now I still think that career consultants is very, very important for them, especially when a lot of information that is on the internet. So we should bring them more information, and I feel personally, I feel like this podcast is very impactful for them. Talking about the careers also, and how I end up in Aiesec, I thought about this as an opportunity for me if I committed like long, and I happened to know Aiesec when I was in high school. Just I was a high school student, and my English at that time is not that good, to be honest.
Okay, in
In the high
Vietnam, do you guys
school,
study in English like your school subjects, or is it totally in your language?
it's a subject. It's a subject.
Okay, it is just a
We are not.
subject, but you guys don't speak in English like in Pakistan or India, other countries. Like, for example, talking about Pakistani countries, mostly people prefer, getting the English language. So that's quite a good. Let's go ahead and carry on. I would love to hear about, how you learned it, because it's not that easy to come up and communicate all of a sudden because it's your second language. So yeah, let's hear about it.
Yeah, yeah. This is only my second language. We need to learn it at school, and it's not something that, for example, right now my parents doesn't know how to speak English, and
Oh,
it's
they
very
don't.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. So actually that is a subject, and we have a compulsory subject as English that's requires to have a good score, so that we can becomes like a student in the university or something like that. So at that times we just cramming for exams and cramming for grammar, like grammar score, and the way we learn is very theory based.
Okay.
Actually, I got a very good score in English at that time, but I could not speak English.
Okay.
I still remember the
I
first
mean, you
time
were
that
good
I
theoretically, but practically, when it came to speaking, you didn't have those
yeah,
soft skills. Basically, that's what you're trying to say.
yes, yes,
Okay.
I
Okay.
cannot literally use it. And then I remember I registered for a camp. It's an English-based camp for high school students,
Mhm.
and it's hosted by Aiesec.
Okay.
So basically, Aiesec was just like recruiting some of the intern from other countries, others entities, others territories to go to countries and doing kind of impactful project there for the youth. So I remember some of the interns, like just an exchange student from Singapore, from Malaysia, from South Korea, from Australia, like they come here and they just like gather together with the Aiesec in Vietnam to
Okay.
actually do that kind of project. And they was very resilient, that supporting me. I was very self-doubt. I was very scared and afraid at that times because that was my first time joining a very international events and also camp.
Yeah.
But I remember the way they calm me down is very touching. They just say, if you felt uncomfortable communicating by speaking, then this is the paper. You can write down. I will understand and respond to you. And I will speak very slowly. So
I
just be
see.
patient.
Mm.
And at that time, I feel very touching. I really have a goal for myself that I will become an Aiesec in the future so that I can support the youth or the youngster in the high
Okay.
school like me.
I got it.
Yeah, and then I just try my best to go to that university because like in Vietnam, right, we have Aiesec in so many university, and every group of university will become a local branch,
Yeah, and
and
it's
I
all
want
about,
to go.
even if you're in any university, you just have to apply for Isaac. That's it. I mean, it's not like
Yeah,
restricted to a particular university. You all, I think you guys give chances to all the youth, youngsters out there, if I'm not mistaken.
yes,
Okay.
we give the chance to all the youth, right? But actually, I want to be in the same university that the Isaac are working there in that
Okay.
university.
All right.
Yeah, I got a chance to become a student there and also applying for Isaac.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's I end up being Isaacer.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Now, when it comes to, starting off your career as a regional manager of Isaac, now this is something that you definitely got the promotion, and because of your language, because of the work that you did for Isaac. So there are a lot of people who always try to believe that, okay, if you guys go for this shortcut, you know what shortcut is, right? We are going to achieve towards something. So what message would you want to give as a regional manager to such people? Because it's not a piece of cake, to be very honest about it. I mean, I've been a manager, a customer success manager. I've been handling, different freight industries in US, talking about Canadian companies. Right now, I'm working for an Australian company. Talking about that, like, even being a manager, like being a manager is one thing. Being a regional manager, especially for the Asian region, you've got a lot on your shoulders, right? So can you explain how do you cope up your responsibilities, and how did you start from the scratch? What was your first job as, and were you nervous at that time? Did you know about the interview skills and all that? Can you throw some light on that aspect as well, so that we get to learn from your experience, and then the youth can get something out of it as well? Yeah.
Mm. I believe that we should start from the very basics one, the very basic layer, and that's working directly to the customer.
Okay.
And actually, a customer of Isaac is also youngster, so it support me a lot at that time. It's just like I work in the customer delivery service. So actually, when I mentioned before, right, we recruit some intern from others country and territories to go to Vietnam and doing some kind of project, or we work with a company in Vietnam. So at that times, after we recruit, we have a teams to take care of their experience when they landed Vietnam and also working here for like 6 months or 6 weeks. We will have like some Isaacer in the branch to support them. So I work and starting at that point to develop my customer centricities and also how the operations we're working on. And then
Mhm.
after that, I reallocate to other departments to know how to do marketing, how to do sales, how to recruit people from other countries or territories here.
Yeah.
And then I also reallocated myself into some kind of department that is not related to the customer directly. So for example, I work in human resources department to just
Okay.
know how to recruit the people. That's very passionate for Isaac and this match the values, something like that. And gradually, I become higher to the layers of managing the local branches and also
Okay.
the nationals in Vietnam, the branch in Vietnam. So then gradually we open the application forms for the people who passionate to contribute more, not just for that countries or territories, but others like as a regions as well. Then I applied to Aiesec International,
Okay.
that's based in Canada. like you.
Oh, so
And
did you go to Canada all the way? And
no,
that's
no, no.
okay.
I applied, but then they
Okay.
suggest me to start in the regional first.
In your
Yeah, so
region first, and then you can just go ahead with the exchange program, and you would get those opportunities just to go ahead and be there. Okay, yeah, yeah, that sounds really interesting. Go ahead.
yeah, after that, I end up here in the regional office of Asia Pacific. To just get me more experience and informations and the way of working with a lot of like countries in Asian first before I'm ready for some kind of global, because in globally we have around 108 entities
Okay.
yeah, globally. So that is the very huge things to manage. So I would rather to start with a regional office of the Asia Pacific first.
Got it.
And for the youth, right, I have some words to say to them. I suggest that they can start from the basic layers to understand the entire operation and things. Don't wish for something like shortcuts and like passing some
Yeah,
stages.
yeah.
Um, and also be patient
Be
because
patient, because there's a lot of
uh,
competition. There are a lot of guys who are applying already. So you have to just work on your skills first, and then when you feel confident about yourself, that okay. And there is one thing that says leadership is always best when you become an example for your employees, and then get promoted
yes,
to that level, right? So then, I mean, leadership without an example is not a leadership, to be very honest about it. I mean, if I want to become a leader, first I would have to prove myself. Then people are going to accept me, that okay, this guy or girl deserves that, right? So this is something we guys need to also come up with. Min, just wanted to add on one more thing. Since we guys live in the same world, Michael Jackson once said, I don't know if you've heard about his one song, Heal the World. I always quote that. I would like to tell you about it as well. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and for the entire human race. Now, I understand you're in Vietnam, I'm in Pakistan, there are people in Australia, America, listening to me. I've got different colleagues in South Africa. So, this is one positive use of social media, right? And then there are negative aspects as well, pros and cons that we are talking about. So, for example, I mean, if I talk about from your perspective, what do you think? Do we actually lacking such organizations? Like Isaac is just one. We need more and more people to come ahead. For example, this Saturday I'm gonna visit the capital of Pakistan, and I'm gonna just go to an orphanage just to help people out there, because they don't have basics like laptops and heaters and all that. So if a guy like me is doing it on a weekend, doing these podcasts, or if you are working for Isaac, and you are contributing towards the society, where does the word social responsibility come in? Is it just the responsibility of the organizations, or do you think as a human being we are also responsible for what's happening across the whole world? So that's one of a very tricky question, but I'd like to elaborate and answer that in a way so that I can get your perspective on it. What do you think?
um, I really felt that this is only the responsibility of each an individual.
Okay.
It's not an organization itself only, because actually in Isaac, right, we also believe in the values, and like in the past we want everyone to become the world citizens, which means it's not changing the world, it's just changing the surroundings. The small action of you every day in the daily basics can make it a very big impact for the people around you, for your family, for your village, for your cities, and then for your nations. And at the end of the day, it's like the entire human being. So
Okay.
it's not just an organizations, but it's starting from us. It's just start from me, from
Charity
you,
begins at
and
home,
from
basically. That's what you're trying to say. So it's not just like the
yeah,
corporate social responsibility of an organization. If I see that I can plant a tree outside my house, I do that, my neighbor is going to do the same. We need to
yeah,
just create examples. So a lot of people, they comment and they criticize, but they don't just actually help out. So what we are missing as a in the entire world, I guess, is that we should believe in ourselves, and if you're doing a good deed, people are going to go ahead and start doing it as well. And we should
Yeah.
stop, complaining and getting into each other's lives. So for example, I have a certain belief on talking about religious perspectives, right? You've got a certain religion, I respect that. Okay, I've got a certain religion, you should respect that. Apart from just tagging people that, okay, this is a certain group, I understand that there are groups, but it's not like the entire humanity. People like us who are working 24/7 to earn their bread and butter, they're innocent people. So that's what I would like to, whoever is listening, you're going to share it with your colleagues. I'm going to share it with my network as well, especially to the youth. What would be I mean, this is my message and I give it in every podcast, but for you as a regional manager or as a human being as well yourself, what are the three strategies that you think can bring an impact, not just in Vietnam, but overall across the world? That what should be those three strategies? For example, you're the head of the world right now, you're the one who's implementing those strategies in Vietnam. For example, you're a good politician and you have been given the autonomy to go ahead and work out for these kind of things, for corporate social responsibility. What would be your three immediate actions that you're going to take just to make sure that you can minimize the problem?
Okay. I think it's to start from our awareness first.
Okay.
Actually, this is what I learned from my leader as well. Before in Aiesec, like before we say we want to change something, we need to understand and aware of that. What is the problem? What is the root cause? Or else, if we do not understand deeply about that one, we just change the symptoms. We're not changing, like solving the roots. So my leaders teach me how to analyzing, how to reading all the research or all of the things that people trying to deep down into the problems, to just utilize whatever legacies that we have in the past and using all of that to the things that we are doing. So the first thing would be the awareness. Yeah. The awareness about the problems, also the awareness about every single legacies that we have in the past, and also the awareness about what is the possible solutions for the entire world. That is the first one. The second one, we would love to work and start within ourselves, and also thinking about what is the thing your concerns and what is the thing you're strong at. So we will start within ourselves. We should be the one who be the pioneer, be the ones who create the change. Whenever we find someone, something, some problems that we're complaining about, not just complaining just like the first stage. The second stage is be the change you want to see, not just expecting from someone else, but
I really like
start
that.
with
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. And the third things would be collaborating, because we as a human being, we cannot stay and live alone in this world. We should collaborate with other people, utilizing the strengths of other people. As a human being, we have our strength, our weakness, and somehow our weakness can be compiled or compatible with someone else's strengths. So we need to collaborate with them, and also not just a human being together. We as an organization need to collaborate with each other as well, especially not just an organization, as a nation, as a region, as a continent, we also can collaborate.
Yeah, I think you just took my words from me. Honestly speaking, this is what I always emphasize on. First, don't problems do exist, but there is a solution to every problem. The word impossible itself says I am, if you just break it down, possible. So first is believe in yourself, have confidence. There is a fear factor theory that goes on since, while we are in our childhood, that if not this, what, then what? Forget thinking about that. Do some research. About Wright brothers who invented the airplanes and all. About Einstein or all those people who invented things. For example, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. What did they do? The only thing is they believed in themselves. That yes, we can do it. Change begins within ourselves. I've written it down: awareness. I'm just gonna repeat the whole thing so that the other people can get it in a very short way. So first thing is awareness. If you feel like there is some, I mean, if I feel like in my neighborhood, first start from my own home. That am I doing right things? Am I treating my wife the right way, or am I being socially responsible? Charity begins at home, and then you're supposed to go to the neighborhood and slowly and gradually you start collaborating. That's self-evaluation, self-actualization, according to the Maslow hierarchy theory that you might have studied as well. So I think these are the things that we guys need to work on. Then second thing is solution. Be the pioneer. Accept that's what you told. And then in the end, you said, be the change. I literally love that. Be the change. Actually, bring that change ahead. Like, I am working on a mission. I reached out to you, once, twice, and then eventually we are here, utilizing our time just so that, some few guys out there can change themselves and get benefit out of it, right? So step by step, if it, then the last thing is collaboration. So when there is an idea, there is an initiation. For example, when Wright brothers, they invented the airplane, uh, who knew that, the airline is going to be a mode of transport that's going to go across the whole world? But today you see each and every country has an airport, and they need the airline just to make sure that they travel in it. They've made it easier for us, right? So similarly, if you've got an idea, I'd like to conclude the discussion on entrepreneurship, that this is how we would be able to build entrepreneurs as well in future. If see, if there are problems, we guys often think about those problems too much that we don't have solutions for those, right? So if you're not going to think about solutions, as I see, your leadership fundamental solution you've written, in your background. So point being is that if you're not going to think about solutions, we won't be able to come up with the entrepreneurial mindset. So, lastly, first of all, thank you so much for, giving your time on this podcast. We've got just like 3 minutes left. So what would be your message to the youth listening to us, and especially to people who want to apply in Aiesec, in Vietnam? If someone wants to come, how would you guys welcome them? Would you guys welcome them with open arms, or, how does that happen? Can you please tell us about that as well? Yeah.
Okay. I strongly believe that we need to start from ourselves, and that is also my personal mantra. If you want, you can, and if you find that you cannot, then actually you don't want enough. Actually, I really need to emphasize on this one, because on my experience, I will prove you guys why. I'm not a person who very not confident at speaking in English. I'm very shy, especially for the first time when I talk with a foreigner. I prepare myself a lot. I prepare the script, like how I talk to them. And when
did this happen on this podcast, or you were completely natural?
No, completely natural.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, but actually, the first time I prepare a lot. I prepare a lot of things, but actually when I met that American guys, that's just a tourist. I try to speak in English with them, but I cannot. I just like shake like a leaf, like this one, and I was just like, "Hi, what's my name?" And that's a very stupid one, because
but it's completely fine. I mean, you're trying to beat your fears, right? You're trying to overcome them.
Yeah, but I would task that the very simple way to talk with someone is, "Hi, what's your name?" But I cannot really remember at that time. So basically, I'm not having the belief on myself that I can do it. Until the day that I met the Aiesec in the camp that I just mentioned, and they're very patient. They're very patient on me, and they say that they trust me. So why someone else trusts you, but you cannot trust yourself, right? At that point of time, I changed my mind, and I start with me. I start with myself first. Believe in myself, and then I can change the world. So as you say, the impossible itself, when you break it, is half impossible. I love that one. But I also heard from one of the alumni from Aiesec in Singapore. He was the national director of Aiesec in Singapore, and he just like came back to us recently in a conference to share. He say, I also share on my LinkedIn. So he said that we all can have the word I can at the end. And if you find that you say I cannot, which means we all cannot. So at that point, I was like, absolutely nice. And I remember that point of build very, 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 very long time. So at that point, I would just emphasize with you guys that I hope you guys having the belief in yourself, and also I hope you guys brings the entrepreneurship like mindset to the world, and also having the belief that we can make the world a better place for all of us.
Exactly. I'd like to tell you a quote that I even have on my Skype. First step is you have to say that you can. You can. Yes, you can do that. For example, when I started this Youth Alumni Association back in 2015, before that I was working for a company in Pakistan, and that was Behri University. It was a university. I was working for Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership. So I used to meet a lot of different people. Now you can see like how smooth I am. I know how to talk. I know how to do these podcasts. I can even just go like, for example, okay, how are you doing today and stuff like that. I can change my accent, do the American one as well. Point is that because I've been working with them, but there was a point in my in my time of life as well where I did not know how to do that. But I joined American companies. I started working on it, and today I'm very very comfortable. Are you getting my point? So that's how you are supposed to do that. Never ever feel that you cannot do that. You have the ability within yourself. People are going to comment whether you're speaking good, and they're going to comment even if you're not. So if you think you're doing good, that's a good thing, but it does not mean that you should not learn the positive criticism. That's from my side. Thank you so much, Min, for joining us today. It was lovely having a session with you. And guys, whoever is listening to us, do subscribe to Youth Alumni Association on YouTube. We guys are here for you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it, man. Take care.